It feels so good to beat the Knicks. Honestly, it's not even the players because I actually like a lot of the guys on the Knicks roster, whereas before I couldn't stand a lot of the guys that played on the Knicks, but I don't think there is a more annoying fan base than the Knicks have, and that's why I'm so happy about this win. And the Bulls get their revenge after getting hit hard at the beginning of the game in the last one, and despite nearly coming back and winning the game after being down more than 10 points with less than 2 minutes to go, it came down to that last shot, which DeRozan airballed. It was the first loss of the season, and it left a bad taste in our mouths, and the Bulls came out tonight with a strong start, not letting the Knicks' strong defense push them around. Give the Knicks credit though, they fought hard in this one and actually took the lead in the third quarter and even held it there for a bit in the fourth, but the Bulls, led by DeRozan scoring, came out on top in this one. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Now, we knew going into this game that Vucevic wasn't going to be in the lineup, although we did receive some great news that he has entered the cardiovascular portion of the protocol, which means he is now tested negative, but will still be sidelined until he gets his conditioning back up. So we might see him in tomorrow's game against the Pacers, but I expect he'll likely be back by Wednesday's game against the Rockets. But in any event, with no Vucevic, we then also received the news in which the Bulls kind of lucked out with both Mitchell Robinson and Taj Gibson being out of the lineup for them, which meant, like the Bulls, the Knicks were going to have to go a little smaller, and with Nerlens Noel getting in foul trouble, it certainly helped be a little more evenly matched down low. But you actually had Tony Bradley step up well tonight, especially kicking off the game, and of course Derrick Jones Jr. playing another solid game at center. It still boggles my mind that for a guy that height plays center, but hey, it's been working out. And then how about the return of Coby White? Well, he's still got some work to do, but more on that in a little bit. Look, what I like seeing the most from this game was that even after a long road trip in which the Bulls played well, but rather than coming out a little lethargic and jet lagged, they came out on fire, hustling, grinding, playing with effort, and really maintained that intensity throughout the game. Sure, they kind of fell asleep a little bit there in the third quarter, but for the most part, this Bulls team was attacking, and despite the Knicks' strong defense, again, like I said, which I have to give their defense a ton of credit because they are pesky, especially in the paint, but despite all of that, the Bulls just kept fighting and going at them every which way that they could. And even though it got a little too close for comfort there at the end and there were a lot of ticky-tack fouls, the Bulls prevailed because of their energy and hustle and fighting for loose balls, and of course some huge buckets by the Kings in the fourth, Zach Lavine and DeMar DeRozan. Now, we've talked about this before, but what makes this duo so great is that when one player isn't feeling it, the other, more often than not anyway, steps up, unless it's of course a game that I attend in person like they did against the Warriors. But tonight, you saw that in Zach Lavine having a pretty off night. He scored some big buckets at the end, which propelled the Bulls to victory, but he only had 11 points halfway through the fourth quarter. He ultimately finished with 21 points, shot 7 for 20. Didn't have a single three though, but DeRozan stepped up in a big way on the scoring front when Zach Lavine was a little cold tonight. For putting up 31 points on 10 for 20 shooting, he was 2 for 2 from 3, and he was yet again perfect from the line, shooting 9 for 9. He also had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and even had 2 steals and a block. He was getting it done on both ends of the floor and really was the difference maker in this game with a box plus minus of plus 21. And that's the great thing about this team, is that DeRozan might have an off night, but Lavine steps up in a big way, and vice versa. And in the fourth quarter, both of these guys stepped up in a very, very big way. And then, of course, the other X factor in this one was that Coby White finally came out to play and had himself a big game. Granted, his defense still bad, his decision making still pretty suspect, but it looks like the catch and shoot is coming back to form, and he hit some big shots for the Bulls down the stretch, which we've been talking about all season. We needed so badly. We needed a scorer coming off the bench, which is exactly what Coby provides. And after only having 2 points in the first 3 games since being back, Coby puts up 14 points in tonight's victory, 10 of which I believe came in the fourth quarter. He shot 5 for 11, 3 for 6 from 3, and get this, 0 turnovers in 21 minutes of play. He's still got work to do on the defensive end, though. We all know that. That's what I like about Iowa so much, is he's so crafty and smart on defense. He just needs to develop his offensive game more. But anyway, I was happy to see Coby come out with a big game. He needed it to boost his confidence, to get his rhythm back, and the crowd was loving it. He was loving it, and the team was getting into it as well when those shots finally started falling down. Also, I do think it's worth noting that if Caruso and Lonzo didn't fall into foul trouble early, you likely would have seen the Bulls win this one a little more handily, because Caruso especially had to see less time on the floor because he was getting in foul trouble and ultimately fouled out of the game, actually. And the Knicks took advantage of that by going hard at Coby on offense. And for Lonzo, same thing, because, you know, he was his usual self on defense, but then once he picked up that fourth foul in the third quarter, he wasn't able to be as aggressive on the defensive end. He did still manage to put up 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. I know there are a lot of Bulls fans who haven't been as happy with his offensive game, but you also have to recognize that he is a big glue guy on this roster, and his defensive tenacity is unmatched going against most of the other guards that he faces. The other thing that I love seeing tonight, against one of the better defensive teams in the league, the Bulls kept their turnovers under double digits with only 9 turnovers in total, and they forced 13 from the Knicks, which is a testament yet again to the Bulls' strong commitment to defense. Again, despite playing small, the Bulls still rebounded the ball well, also with both teams pulling down 44 rebounds. Still, would like to see the Bulls bring those assist numbers up though. 21 is what they had tonight, that's okay, but this team is really the best when they're moving the ball and pushing the pace, which we saw a bit tonight, but not as much as we have seen in the past. Also, the Bulls struggled with their overall shot tonight. They were missing some easy looks. They shot 42% from the field, but they did shoot better from behind the arc at 38%, going 11 for 29. And they also limited the Knicks and their outside shooting to 7 for 27. It also speaks volumes to the defensive ability of Caruso and Lonzo and the fact that they held Fournier and RJ Barrett to a combined 3 for 19 shooting from the field and 12 points in total. I mean, really, outside of Randall, those two guys are their secondary scorers, and the Bulls completely shut them down tonight, not giving them any easy looks. It was also good to see Derrick Rose back at the UC, of course, as always. He didn't have the best game tonight as he shot 3 for 11 in 30 minutes, but he always gets shots from the crowd because of what he means to the city. Anyway, a big win for the Bulls coming back home after a long road trip, and they're right back at it tomorrow night against the Pacers. I'll have my weekly preview video out of the games ahead, which the Bulls schedule is going to start looking a lot easier from here on out, so be on the lookout for that video sometime in the morning. I'll have a live chat for the game as well, so feel free to join that if you'd like, and as always, be sure to subscribe if you're new. I'll be covering the Bulls all season long, so you don't want to miss out. Enjoy your evening, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next one.